G'day guys and welcome to Ask A Pathfinder's Player Advice series. Today we're going to be talking about how to play a good character. Let's get into it! Alright guys, so playing a good character is different from playing a great character. Now, I'm going to be talking about how to play a great good character. So good characters are those that fall on the spectrum of alignments from lawful, evil, chaotic, and of course, good. And neutral if you kind of want to count them too. Playing a good character comes with a whole bunch of different tricks and tips to try and get them just right so that they not only suit your party, but also suit your adventure. Now, a lot of people do one big mistake, and I'll mention this on all the videos that I'm going to make about these alignment-based characters, and that is, of course, what I like to call swinging for the fences. Do not swing for the fences when you are playing a character based around an alignment. Alignment characters that just go all the way to the edges to try and be the most evil characters, or the most good characters, or the most chaotic characters, or the most lawful characters. Whatever the case may be, swinging for the fences is a terrible idea. It is very hard to pull off. Not saying that you can't, just saying it's incredibly hard. And you generally tend to build a lot of animosity between not only your fellow players, but the GMs as well. So let's get talking to good characters. What are good characters? Why should we play good characters? Well, good characters are actually relatively easy to get along. Normally you'll find many adventures are tailored for a party of good characters, and the more heroic the good character, the better they'll fit into the adventure. This is just a general staple for a lot of games. Now, good falls into a spectrum, ranging from being your full-blown paladin of righteousness and justice, all the way through to the baker who simply hands a bread roll to a poor man every single day. There are all kinds of good that exist within the world, and it is up to your GM to define what is good in that world. Now, we may have an understanding of morality, we may have an understanding of how good should be and what good should act like and how it should walk and how it should talk and all these other things. But at the end of the day, your GM is the one who is building the world. So if they tell you killing helpless goblin babies is an act of good because goblins are voracious and breed like rabbits, then killing goblins is good. You might not feel that way. You might not feel that killing the young is a good thing. But if your GM has announced it, then it's not that killing babies is good. It's that in his setting, in his version of the world, it is. And that is the rules you play by. So, step one is, of course, approach your GM, find out what is good. It's the best thing you can do. And then you can determine where on the scale you want to sit. Now, this is a story I share with some of my younger players just to kind of give them an idea of what I mean when I say you don't need to swing for the fences for good. A paladin and a fighter are walking to the temple. Both of them want to, worship the same god that day as part of their daily routine. They come across a poor, starving man who is vagrant and standing in the street. The paladin offers him a prayer and hands him a piece of food and says, "God be with you. You will find your strength one day," and blesses him and walks off. The fighter takes a gold coin out of his pouch, puts it into his cup, and says, "Get a job, you bum!" Which of these two characters is good? Now, a lot of people say that the paladin is good because it's in his class. Sure. He did a nice thing, he said a nice thing, he was a nice guy. But nice isn't necessarily good. Being nice doesn't mean that you're good, and being good doesn't mean that you're nice. What the fighter did was a good thing. He gave him money. He even offered him support. Now, he is angry and is saying it in a mean way to get a job. He might have circumstances, whatever the case may be. But the fighter is still doing an act of good. So being a good character doesn't mean being a nice guy. Just because he's a bad guy doesn't mean he's a bad guy. Same thing. Except the opposite way. Being a good guy, you don't have to be a good guy. So, that's the first thing. The next is virtue. as a good character, you need to have virtue. You need to have a whole bunch of these attributes that define you as being good. The first that I'd probably stand out is would be kindness. Acts of kindness, saying kind things, being a kind person is definitely a virtue. It is one of the things that make people like your character, make your PCs like each other, make your NPCs like this guy. Generally, walking around with a good attitude and a good spirit can be felt throughout the game. The second big virtue would be, of course, selflessness. Doing things for others without expectation of a reward. Now, that does not mean you won't be rewarded. Sure, if you go out and you kill goblins and a town gives you a bag of gold as gratitude, there is, being good isn't about, no, please, I am all too pleased with killing these goblins for absolutely nothing. That's a different virtue called charity. But no, being selfless does not necessarily mean you have to be charitable. So, yeah, selflessness. If you don't heal, standing in front of an enemy to take a blow so that the healer can get to a fallen ally, taking out one of your hard-earned potions and throwing it to someone before they perish. These are acts of selflessness and virtues that are very important for building inter-party, relationships. It's all good. Charity, as mentioned before, giving away what you have to others, but I kind of classify that in with selflessness to a degree. And of course, trust is the biggest one. Trust, faith, devotion, whatever you want to call it. Having that faith is all about being good. If you are a good character and you want to do something good, having faith in your party, even if they let you down, to continue to have faith in them. That is where goodness reigns. Goodness is all about that. Goodness is having faith that your rogue, even though he's a scoundrel and a pickpocket, that he will be a good guy, that he will turn and, sort of end up being virtuous as well. Being able to rely on someone when your chips are down. To know that even if death is right next to you, even if it's breathing down your neck, you know that your allies have your back. That is good. So all these things are how we kind of build up good. But how do we play it? How do we convey all these things? Well, first of all, I've always got to say this. Always look for opportunity to be good. Not to do good, but to simply be good. One of the best examples I can give is I have a character called Mutaru in a series called The Adventures of the Windswift, back when I was with the Bacon Battalion. And he was a big cow person. He was reckless, he was pig-headed, he was rough around the edges, definitely reckless, but he was a good character. He did little things that you would never really consider as important. There were a bunch of desert people setting up for a festival, and Mutaru could have very easily just said, yeah, we wait for nightfall. But no, I said, you know what, I'll go and help them. I'll help erect giant tents. I will help the women, do the laundry. I'll help, prepare some food for them. Now, did this earn me anything? Not really. I mean, some of the people really kind of got on with me because I'd been hanging out with them all day. But it didn't really earn me anything tangible. I got no money. I got no reward. I didn't even get, a little friendly cohort to come help me out. But I did it because it builds who I was. It develops my goodness. Same thing you can do in your games. Look for those opportunities where you can just do something that is good. What's that? You come into a new town. Why not stop in with the church? Make a donation. You might not earn anything from it, but I'm fairly sure that your GM will stop and go, oh, wow, that was a really good thing this guy did. Fair enough. And it might turn into a reward. It might turn into a whole other plot point for your character. So just remember, being good, doing good. Two separate things. The last thing I want to leave off on is, of course, paladins. Now, again, I'm going to hear so many arguments about this, but paladins can be good. They must be good. they can be nice. They don't have to be nice. Paladins can be jerks. Paladins can intentionally be jerks. Old school veteran paladins, yeah, they can be grisly as hell. They can be jaded, they can be miserable, they can be surly. There is just so many spectrums of what is good that you don't need to follow what everyone tells you, that paladins have to be these big, lawful, stupid lunkheads that do nothing but ruin villains' days. You could have a relationship between a lawful good paladin and a chaotic evil anti-paladin. What it takes is communication, understanding, and most importantly, compromise. Both need to be able to compromise. The paladin can't sit there and say, well, no, you can't use death knell on people. Like, that's just ridiculous. And the villain can't turn around and just murder people directly in front of the paladin. But the paladin doesn't necessarily need to watch the anti-paladin every single second of the day. The anti-paladin doesn't need to do evil every single waking moment. Cooperation is all about compromise. Being good is about your virtue. It's about what is inside you, not what other people tell you you must be. Alright guys, I hope you guys found that as intriguing as I did. I have played so many good characters and I'm just so keen on trying a couple more in recent times. If you guys like good characters, what are your types of good characters? What do you enjoy playing? Do you have any memorable moments where there was an act of good but not really done in a very nice way? Leave your comments below and I'll I'll share stories. I love stories like this. If you want to check out some more of our stuff, go over to Facebook and check us out there. You can also visit us on Discord if you want to chat with me directly. I love meeting people and talking. If you also have any problems you guys need help with for your RPGs, don't hesitate to contact me because there's all the free coaching and services done through the Discord. And of course, if you want to help us out and become one of our cheeky Patreons, go over to Patreon and give us as little as $1 a month, which is literally a ham and cheese toasty at the end of the year. You can really help us make Ask a Pathfinder everything we want it to be. Until next time, guys, as always, keep your dice rolling and make sure your ideas stay mindworm free. Have a good one.